Hey loves, happy new year and welcome to 2025 natural hair ins and outs. If you guys have been rocking with me for a minute, you know I had my hair color treated to like a honey blonde color almost a year and a half, 2 years ago now. Probably like 2 years ago now. Cut it, grew it out, dyed my hair back black twice, grew it out again, and I've been able to do a lot of wash and goes and just different styles and just allow my hair to grow out and flourish. So I wanted to share with you guys all the tips and tricks I did in 2024 to achieve that. And if you saw my recent video of my silk press tutorial, you definitely see the length is there. So I'm going to be sharing some tips for length retention as well. So let's jump right into this video. Alright, so I have my iPad here with all the details, tools, and tips and tricks. So starting off with wash day, this is the most important because healthy hair literally starts from the scalp. And I feel like if you've been on the natural hair journey since like the early 2010s, I would say around like 2013 and 2020, you've heard different opinions about, you know, how often you should wash your hair, when you should deep condition your hair, if you should co-wash or not, you know, all these different things. And I'm here to tell you, you definitely need to be shampooing your hair. Like, I completely stopped co-washing my hair. Like, the only time I would ever even recommend or suggest that is if you just need to do like a quick reset on your hair and switch your style up. Like, and you know you're gonna re-wash your hair in like the next 2 days. That's the only time I would ever tell someone to co-wash your hair, because co-washing your hair is literally not washing your hair. Like, I want you to think about if you were to have a braid out, right, and you use gel, curl cream, oil, and you think that you just can, you know, go co-wash your hair and go into the next style. I'm here to tell you that the product you think you got off your hair is more than likely still about 25% on your hair, and your next hairstyle is probably not gonna last as long or look as good because you have too much product buildup. Wash day, you need to have a clarifying shampoo in your regimen. I swear by this. Like, I used to just use just regular shampoo, and also shampooing twice. I don't know about you guys, but personally for me, that first lather is just to like get whatever product was on your hair off. The second one, to me, the second lather actually like ensures that your hair is clean. So I mean, even do a third one if you feel like you had a lot of gel, especially whenever I do like a slick back. I'm definitely going to go in with a third lather. But having a clarifying shampoo in your regimen is imperative because, you know, every once in a while just doing 2 lathers with like a moisturizing shampoo may not get all the product buildup off your hair overall. And I want to say that I'm not a licensed cosmetologist, but I'm just telling you guys what I personally noticed over the last year of what really helped my hairstyles. I even noticed that my hairstyles tend to last longer when I use a clarifying shampoo. And I would suggest using it at least once or twice a month. So once every other week or once every 2 weeks. And in between that, what I would say for your 2 lathers, the first one I would do a clarifying shampoo followed up with a moisturizing shampoo. That's personally how I do it. And one product set that I would like to recommend is For You by Tia. It's very affordable. I love her clarifying shampoo. That definitely gets your hair squeaky clean, y'all. Like, I've noticed that if I don't use that going into like a wash and go, my curls do not curl right in the front or like the nape of my neck. And those are like my trouble areas that I usually have to apply a lot of foaming moves or like a lot of extra product to get it to be defined. But I noticed if I clarify my hair, no issues. And more than likely it's because of just, you know, product buildup. And when you think about it, if you're someone who likes to pack on edge control on the nape of your, you know, neck, your kitchen and your edges, that product buildup when you're trying to wash it off can get like settled in the hair. So I just always use a clarifying shampoo. And to take it an extra step further, what I would recommend every quarter is doing a Aztec clay mask. The Aztec clay mask mixed with 1 part apple cider vinegar is a great hair reset. Not only is it clarifying your hair, but it's like a hard core reset on your entire head. It will dry your hair out, so I do recommend following up with a moisturizing shampoo after the fact, and definitely deep conditioning, which we'll get into that next. But for the most part, for wash day, make sure you have a clarifying shampoo in your stash. Use it once every other week or once every 2 weeks. Have a moisturizing shampoo in your stash, and make sure you are shampooing your hair every time you get ready to do another style. I cannot stress that enough. Take out the co-washing. Next, this is kind of still part of wash day, deep conditioning and bonding treatments. Now, everyone knows that you should definitely be deep conditioning your hair when you have curly hair, right? But what is the cadence? For me personally, last year I noticed that if I'm able to squeeze in a deep condition every wash day, my hair acts the best. If I'm able to do it once every other week, good. But trying to go almost 2 weeks without deep conditioning my hair is never good. I usually always can tell in my hairstyles in terms of the longevity and just the overall feel of my hair. So if you really want your hair to be like trained, as they would say, or cooperate when it comes to styling your hair, especially in a style that requires your curls to be defined, you want to make sure that you're deep conditioning your hair and really just giving your hair that proper TLC of moisture. So one of my favorite deep conditioners to use is the Shea Moisture Intensive Hair Mask and also the Sacred Deep Conditioner. I love those, and I personally make sure that I always have heat applied when I'm using my deep conditioners, just to help the deep conditioner penetrate in the hair better. One thing you want to stop doing is deep conditioning your hair overnight. Now I know y'all about to say, Kayla, you was the main one 5 years ago leaving deep conditioner in your hair overnight. I definitely was, and I'm here to tell you that's a no-no. And on a scientific level, it literally tells you on the bottle, if it says leave on your hair for max 35 minutes, try not to exceed that. Even if it does say best applied with heat, try not to apply the heat more than 35 minutes with that on your hair, because what can happen is hydro fatigue. I want y'all to look that up. And I definitely experienced that in the past, wondering why my hair felt a little limp, because you're like basically almost essentially over processing your hair with deep conditioner. So stop not following directions on the bottle. And that goes for just anything that's not even deep conditioner. Just if it says a certain time frame for a certain product, please listen to that. And the second thing that has tremendously changed the game for my curls is bond treatments. Now, bond treatments to me is almost like a lighter version of a protein treatment, essentially. Now, I'm not shooting down protein treatments. Definitely do it if you feel like your hair needs it. But some people's hair is sensitive to protein. So you can have protein overload, which is just, you know, essentially using products that have too much protein in it. And protein can be in products such as leave-in conditioners, curl cream. So you want to make sure you're reading the labels and making sure that if your hair cannot take too much protein, make sure you're not giving your hair protein overload. And that also goes for just not doing too many protein treatments. Now, that would be protein overload. Now, if you, like I said, leave deep conditioners in your hair too long or conditioners in your hair too long, that would be hydro fatigue, which is your hair is overhydrated. So avoid both of those. But for the most part, the bond treatment that I absolutely love the most, I swear by it, is the Curlsmith Bond Rehab Solve. I think, yeah, Rehab Solve. I absolutely love this product. Matter of fact, when I had my honey blonde hair, and I'll try to find like one of the old videos of me using it when I had my hair blonde, that really made sure that my curls stayed intact. And I'm talking about when you get a silk press and you're raw dogging your hair, because I was not using a lot of heat protectant at the time, and which was crazy because it's like, girl, your hair is color processed, you should be using some heat protectant. Like at most I would use like a blow dry spray and then just straighten my hair at one time and try my best not to like touch the, you know, hair up too much with the flat iron. But I was definitely raw dogging my hair with the flat iron, and my curls were still very defined, and I feel like it's because of that bond treatment. It is essentially like a very light protein treatment that goes in and like repairs the gaps in your hair shaft. That's why it's a bond treatment. And there are plenty of different bonding treatments. I know Shea Moisture has a bond treatment line, but I personally love Curlsmith. So if you don't notice a change on the first go round using it, I would guarantee that you're going to feel something the second go round. Sometimes it's not necessarily like a physical difference that you see, but you will feel it. And the bond treatment you can use, I want to say once or twice a week. It does tell you on the bottle, like if you have low porosity hair, you use it less. If you have high porosity hair, you use a little bit more. It does have like a time limit on for each porosity of your hair. So if you have low, medium, or high, it has a different time frame of how long you should leave it on. But it definitely works very, very well. So if you're someone who wears wash and goes very often, but you want to dibble and dab with heat, and you notice your curls are a little heat stressed afterwards, use this treatment and I guarantee your curls will bounce back. Now, a more potent version of that would be the Alpha G 2-step protein treatment. I would only recommend that if your hair is experiencing like severe breakage, and that's something I would do like once every other quarter, just to kind of give your hair like a little quick reset, to stop the breakage and have some length retention. But if you want a lighter version of that as well, you should go for the Alpha G Green Tea Keratin Reconstructor. Now, this is a lightweight product that you can practically use every wash day or like every style that you do. I personally like to use it during my wash and goes. So what I'll do is actually like spray it on my hair before I go in with my curl cream and foaming mousse. And it is heat activated. So if you are going to dry your curls with a diffuser or sit under the hooded dryer, it'll kind of go in and act as a light bond treatment in your hair as well. Highly recommended for those who heat style a lot but also have color treated hair. Now, making sure that you stay on top of your deep conditioning and bonding treatments, I can guarantee you'll start seeing a difference in your hair, not only from just the defining process of your curls, but how long your hairstyles are actually lasting. So keep that in mind for 2025. Next is dusting your ends versus trimming. Now, this is very controversial. I always say that you do not necessarily need a trim every single month. Matter of fact, on average, the hair only grows half an inch. Now, genetically, you know, some people may be able to get like a full inch in a month. Kudos to you. But on average, your hair grows half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch a month. So, I want you to think about this. A lot of people feel like their hair cannot get past a certain length for two reasons. Your hair is either breaking off at the same rate that it's growing, so that it just appears that it's stagnant, or as your hair grows out, you keep going to your hairdresser or yourself and you're trimming off an inch every single time. So guess what? Your hair is going to be the same length. Like, I just want you to like see how the math is mathing. It doesn't make sense. I personally feel like you should only trim your hair twice at most a year. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for that, because dusting and trimming to me is not the same thing. That's not even, trimming is not even a haircut. Like, you have a haircut, a trim, and then dusting. Now, what I like to do is dust my hair every month, and I mean that is like barely an inch, like not even half. It's not even half an inch, like if that. And honestly, I only do it when I feel like my ends feel really rough. And you'll be able to see it too, especially if you do a lot of wash and goes. You'll see certain curls that look a little funky, or when you do a twist out or put twist in, you can kind of feel as you get towards the end of the twist or the braid that it may need a little dusting. Now, that's fine. If you feel like your hair doesn't need it, skip it by all means. But this is what really matters when it comes to length retention, in my personal opinion, because as long as you're stopping some of those split ends or single strand knots, which if you do a lot of wash and goes, you are more prone to single strand knots. If you do it like at least once every other month, you should be able to maintain your hair and also like continue to grow it out and see the actual length, versus you just cutting off new growth. Essentially, like, you're not cutting off new growth, but you're cutting off the length that came from the new growth coming in, if that makes sense. Now, if you are someone who wants to dust their ends, please make sure you're using proper shears. I mean, I literally cringe when I happen to see videos of people cutting their hair with kitchen scissors or craft scissors. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Like, that literally actually makes your split ends, or your ends in general, worse. So go to Sally's, the beauty supply store, get you some shears the correct way. Have those in your stash so that you can have some ends maintenance, okay? Keep that in your stash. Next, this is for my girlies who like to play around with the heat. So when it comes to straightening your hair, highly recommend Mizani Heat Screen. This is a phenomenal heat protectant, you guys, and I'm someone who likes to straighten my hair on the highest heat, because honestly, if you're going to spend hours blow drying your hair and straightening it, I want it to be bone straight. I'm not going to put heat on my hair and it just looks like I got a blowout, okay? So for me, we all know that hair burns at 450 degrees. I literally straighten my hair on 415. So I'll put in the description box down below all the products that I'm mentioning, by the way. But for straightening my hair, I recently did a silk press video. I used the Babyliss ceramic flat iron, and I do use it on 415 degrees. Now, before I even get to the straightening part, I highly recommend using a blow dry spray. So I really enjoy the Kenra blow dry spray. My hairstylist here in Houston actually uses that on my hair. That kind of acts as like a buffer or a heat protectant as well, a little bit before you blow dry your hair. And I feel like the key to really ensuring that your silk press is as straight as possible is making sure that your hair is as stretched as possible when you go into blow dry it. So always look into using a blow dry spray. So Kenra blow dry spray is one of my favorites. And then a heat protectant. If you are a curly girl like me, highly recommend kind of going in with the second layer of this Color Wow extra strength coat. That kind of also helps block out the humidity if you're in a super humid place. Like, I'm in Houston, I went to school in Florida, and I grew up in Atlanta, so I was in some very humid places and always had to have a humidity blocker on hand. If you want something that's a little bit more affordable, highly recommend the Cream of Nature gloss spray. That's also an anti-humidity spray as well. Works great, also acts as a gloss. And then the Mizani heat protectant. Gotta have that in your stash. 2025, if you're going to use heat, stop raw dogging the heat on your hair. Especially if you have a finer hair texture, you have no business not using heat protectant. Okay, I'm just here to tell you. That will keep your hair as healthy as possible and your curls bouncing back when you're ready to do a wash and go. Alright, next we're going to get into gels versus foam. Now, the last 2 years I've kind of been shying away from a lot of gels. I usually only use gel when I do a slick back, but defining my curls with gel, I kind of stopped doing that because I fell in love with foaming mousses. If you guys have been rocking with me for a minute, you know the vast majority of my wash and go videos have been with a foaming mousse, or have showcased me using a foaming mousse in the product combo. And the reason that is because I realized that foaming mousse not only is lightweight on the hair and my curls are able to be fluffier and have more volume on the first 2 days versus being like hard and crunchy and having to break that gel cast, I noticed that it dried faster and my hair just looked overall great. I don't know, I just feel like my wash and goes honestly have turned out better using foaming mousse versus gels, but I may experiment with that this year. However, I do think it's best to kind of lay off some of the gels because most gels are drying in general. And that's another thing I loved about foaming mousses, is that you also don't have to worry about the mixture of the product. We all know that if you use a gel, you have to do the product test in your hand just to make sure that it doesn't flake, have what I like to call those hair booger clumps. There's nothing worse than getting through your wash and go and it looks like it may work, and then when it dries, your hair is snowing because the gel just did not mix with whatever leave-in conditioner or curl cream that you use. You usually don't have to worry about that with foaming mousses because they practically pair with just about any product. So keep that in mind for 2025. Try more lightweight products or foaming mousses that have great hold versus defining your curls with gels and only using gels for slick backs. Next, in 2025, I highly recommend trying to do little to no slick backs. Now, I currently have my hair in this cute flat twist style. Check out the video before this because I actually showed how versatile flat twists can be, which still kind of gives you the illusion of like a sleek, neat hairstyle versus gelling your hair down and slicking it back with a hardboard bristle brush. Just doing flat twists in a sleek style makes it to where you're not putting too much tension on your hair. Slick backs have the tendency to not only give you a receding hairline, but the tension is so bad. And one thing I've noticed is if you do too many slick backs, you low-key can start seeing a little damage on the areas that are slicked the most, which is like the front curls and also in the back. And you can have a lot of breakage. So try to do little to no slick backs this year. That's going to be my goal. And my goal is to counteract with that by doing flat twist or braided hairstyles. And last but not least, this definitely helped my hair flourish in 2024. So in 2025, make sure that you are drying your hair efficiently. And what I mean by that is investing in a really good blow dryer that has a diffuser attachment, and try not to go to bed with your hair wet. I was notoriously always going to bed with like somewhat damp hair. If anything, your hair could be at least 80% dry. But going to bed with soaking wet hair and say, oh, I'm gonna just dry it in the morning, don't do that, okay? In fact, I feel like it actually makes your hair strands weaker when you do that. And I've noticed that drying my hair efficiently, my hair has not only been thicker and fuller, but it feels better and it acts better, especially when it comes to my hair being defined. The curls have totally changed by me doing that simple trick by just fully drying my hair. So if you don't like waiting so long to diffuse it with the blow dryer, because that does take a long time, not gonna lie, I barely have the patience for diffusing my hair, invest in a hooded dryer. I'm gonna link the one in the description box down below that I purchased on Amazon. It has been a game changer. Not only does it dry twist outs and braid outs fast, but it dries, wash, and goes faster. Especially if your product combo just included a leave-in cream or a curl cream and a foaming mousse. When I tell you I could sit under that hair dryer with a soaking wet wash and go, and my hair will be about 80%, 90% dry in 30 minutes. And I can read, be on my laptop, be on my phone, instead of just hovering around with the diffuser. The only thing I will say though is that the volume definitely depends on which way you dry it. Drying your hair with the diffuser allows more volume, but it also allows more frizz. So, you know, you want to think about that. But having a hooded dryer dries it efficiently all the way around and make sure that the roots are dry, but it will dry a little flat, but that's fine because honestly you can go in and shape your hair with a pick. So, but that concludes all of the ins and outs of 2025 for natural hair, you guys. Let me know what you're going to do for 2025 for your natural hair journey, and definitely follow along, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button because more tutorials, more hair tutorials will be coming in 2025, and my goal is to have my hair longer in 2025. I'm going to try not to be scissor happy because I'm notorious for cutting my hair. If I do cut my hair, it'll be for shaping purposes, not for cutting off length. So let's see how long we can grow our hair in 2025, all right? Talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.